welcome back to what is normally a Whiskey Wednesday with Binny's Beverage Depot, but today we're talking vodka, gin, and rum because when you make those things at a distillery in a location like that, it is definitely worth talking about. So I am Pat from the Whiskey Hotline, joined by Brett, who's currently researching potato varieties. Our guests today are Bill and Shay from Hawaii Sea Spirits. Hawaii Sea Spirits makes a variety of craft distilled organic spirits, mainly focusing on vodka, right, guys? Or is gin and rum get equal play now?
Our flagship is Ocean Organic Vodka. It leads the way, and we have some nice family members that follow along as well.
All right, cool. So you want to give us a background on the distillery first, I guess, and how you can somehow efficiently plant a distillery on an island in the middle of the ocean and make it work?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. It kind of starts with being born and raised here on the island. I'm born and raised here. The team that we put together is from around the country, but it starts with having roots here, and it kind of goes back to what we've created as a family here on Maui. Is Hawaii Sea Spirits is the parent company. It's the distiller. It's a prestigious organic spirits producer, and what we utilize is organic sugarcane as our base. And then we blend that with the deep ocean mineral water, which is actually ocean water that is brought up from about 3,000 feet deep. We remove the excess salt, but leave some of the minerals in there. And then that is used to blend with that finished spirits. Across the portfolio, we started with Ocean as our flagship, as I mentioned, Ocean Organic Vodka. And from there, with our master distiller here, Bill Scott, we've been able to kind of hone in additionally exceptional products right alongside it. We have Phi Organic Gin and the Coconut Rum brand, where you have an organic, which is like a white or a silver. And then we have a dark, which is really nice on the rocks or a little bit of a float. And then we also have extremely well crafted toasted coconut. Mm-hmm. All that is produced here on Maui. We have an organic farm at about 1,100 feet on the island of Maui. It's called Kula. There we have panoramic views, and then we're trying to work in the background, right? Not look at stuff all the time. But we do. We run a column distillation system there and produce, bottle. The facility is also set up more as like what you guys are used to in the whiskey and the bourbon region, where we invite people to our home to see where we are, what we do, and kind of enjoy our whole kind of place there on the island. And we have food, cocktails, tastings, and just a really exceptionally well-placed distillery here on Maui.
That's cool. And it's great that you're actually farming sugarcane too. Now, that used to be a big thing on the Hawaiian Islands, and it's really not anymore, right? Are you can't possibly be growing all the sugarcane you need. Are you getting the rest from other nearby Hawaiian Islands?
Good point. I mean, the reality of it is, growing up here, it was sugarcane everywhere, right? Sugarcane and pineapples. And over the course of time, that's kind of faded. And when we started this 15 years ago, it was prevalent. And we did see that we needed to start having a piece of that and doing it ourselves. We didn't realize it was gonna evaporate and disappear. So that's a little bit of a downer, not only visually for the island, but for us as a producer. So yes, we grow on our property, but we also have to source from other organic producers as well. Mm-hmm.
All right, and so the organic, I mean, it's worth mentioning the organic thing because you still don't see a lot of spirits that are certified organic. The vodka's organic and the gin's organic, and the silver rum is, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, some of the flavorings and stuff that Bill is worked at, he can kind of talk through that as we go that direction, but it's all, the base is all organic. And that's what across the whole portfolio. And then there's some things that knock us out of being able to have it be certified organic on board.
Correct. Well, then, and we're getting to, you have sugar cane, and I'm sure we're going to get to it. You have cane that grows on the island. Is everything being run on first press, or are you doing any kind of sugar conversion and then fermenting that? In other words, are you making actual sugar crystals, or are you just using first press juice?
Well, the farm we actually will use fresh juice, but anything that's brought in from the outside. Now, sugar cane's very perishable. Once you cut the cane, there's a process that the cane starts to actually disintegrate, loses moisture, and then some of the sugars are converted to non-fermentables. So those are processed on the way in. And we've got a number of things that we can bring in, and we're just searching all the time for the right quantities, the right consistency, and the right product coming in. So it's a variety.
Bill, I think it's worth mentioning, everything that you're making now has this base of sugarcane of some form, right? And before, in your previous life as a distiller, you weren't in as quite a scenic part of the world, making vodka somewhere else, and that was potatoes, right?
Right.
Was that a challenge for you as a distiller, having such a difference in kind of base source sugar material there? Or was this just, sugar is sugar and it was easy enough, you just had to learn the ins and outs of a new still?
Well, I don't know I don't know how far we want to run down the rabbit hole of chemistry and fermentation. We can geek out here if you want, but making alcohol from a native sugar source is much easier than converting it from a starch source, right?
Okay.
Grain, you actually have to cook those. You have to start breaking down the starch into simple sugar. So you're making sugar from starch, right?
Mm-hmm.
The sugar that's in sugar cane is sucrose, completely fermentable as it is. The challenges that go with it really are it's perishable again. It has to be stabilized. It has to be cleaned up. We want alcohol. We don't want acids and esters and things like that to pour them in the fermenter so much. But then the distillation, it really wasn't a new still to me. It was something I designed from bottom up. So I was really, came into it knowing exactly what I could make with that still.
That's cool. All right. Well, which spirit do you guys want to talk about first?
We're going to start with Phi Organic Gin. And just a little background on Phi. We crafted it over an extensive night of enjoying each other's company. And it really was from a perspective of crafting spirits. The origin of wanting to do it really was based on things that I don't want to sound selfish or anything, but things that I would like to consume, right? And as we got to looking at going outside of vodka, obviously vodka is my drink of choice. It was, okay, well, if we're going to do it, Bill, I'm going to need to be able to enjoy it, which means let's craft something that Shay likes. And sure enough, with the yeah, I know that sounds great. Thanks. With that, he kind of went right at it and said, "I've got just the thing." And he was like, "It's more of a simple gin. It has 5 ingredients, and Phi is pigeon for 5 in Hawaii. So pigeon is like a Hawaiian Creole spoken local language, and it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is you're counting, right? And so for us, it was trying to link in that component with a very well crafted blend of botanicals and into the beautiful tasting sugarcane spirits he already makes, and kind of gets us into the gin. So I'll let Bill kind of walk you through what those ingredients are, why he's chose them, and then we'll make up a little cocktail right after that. It's called the High Five.
All right, cool.
Shay was he mentioned simple gin. That's actually the way I showed it to him. The bottle was labeled simple gin. I kind of saw where the craft gin market was going, and I was seeing these numbers of botanicals going into these products, 25, 30, 35. Yeah. And when I would taste them, I couldn't pick them out. So my idea was to get something that touched on all the notes of gin that you want. You have to have the juniper. That's got to be. You have to have the spice. You have to have almost a bitter. and then a little bit of floral. And I thought if I could formulate this with those notes simply, so that when you taste the product, you can taste all of them, that I'd have a winner with Shay. I know it's not all about Shay, but it kind of was. I thought if I could get him to drink gin, you know, I won. Whether we could, you know, end up taking it to market was a different thing. So the botanicals in it are simply juniper, of course, ginger for the spice, lavender for the floral, and lime just rounds it out, gives it, you know, you need a citrus component and almost bitter with that. You get all of those on the nose. I think you get all of them on the way down also. The product opens up beautifully in a shaker or just poured over ice, and those things just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger as it dilutes. So, you know, but the simple gin it seems to be working for us. People really respond to the product. I don't think I've ever had anybody tell me that's not gin, that's not what I like. It's very different, and we're pretty proud of what we've done.
It's a nice gin. It's clean, and it still has a nice complex botanical profile, like you said, without being 48 different botanicals, you know, and which is just kind of goofy.
Well,
It's, you know, reminds me of craft
floral
beer stuff.
Yeah, you can find floral citrus. There's a little bit of a mint character on the back end of it.
Yeah, really nice gin.
We call it a Hawaii wet.
Yeah.
A Hawaii wet gin.
Hawaii wet. All right. Well, you said you had a cocktail you like making this up in. What's that? If the audience wants to make it at home.
He's gonna start with the cocktail. I'll tell you my favorite gin cocktail is a dry style martini with Hawaii wet gin. It's awesome.
So here, this is the Phi Organic Gin, and what we're going to be doing is it's called a hi-fi. We call it, and it's our take on a gin mule, a Hawaii gin mule. And so we start with 1.5 ounces of Phi Organic Gin. Then we add, do I shake this? I don't shake it.
Whose cocktail is this? Come on.
Remember it? Vanna.
You got to defer to the marketing guys. Jeez.
Yeah, come on.
That's right. You realize that you when you do this, you got to talk the whole time, so we don't have dead air.
I'm Vanna.
Hey, right.
Vanna. To this, we'll add a little bit of pineapple juice right in here. Then we'll shake this baby up. This one goes in the mug. So we're gonna add some more ice to the mug. Pour that in there. Top it with a little bit of ginger beer. Garnish it with a pineapple wedge and a pineapple leaf.
I think you're contractually obligated as a Hawaiian distiller to garnish everything with pineapple.
And that gets you your high five. You see?
Nice.
Yeah, that works.
Gin mule with pineapple juice. That does sound good.
Nice.
We got a question before we do the next one. Predictably enough, Mondo Kane wants to know if you can explain the use of the seawater and how that works, because I've never heard of anything like that either. So it gets pulled out of the deeper parts of the ocean, you're saying, and you still have to desalinate it then?
Yeah, it has to be desalinated. It actually comes out of a deep ocean current, about 3,000 feet below the Kona coast on the Big Island. So there's a pipe that goes down there. They bring the water up. It does have to be desalinated. So they're pulling the salt. They're pulling a lot of the other mineral content. They're, all the basic minerals of life are in seawater. So they'll pull just enough to where the solids content of the water won't cause quality problems with with our blending, right? So we're blending our high proof spirits, our 190 plus proof spirits, and it'll only suspend so much mineral content, and we've got that perfect balance where we can use that mineral water blend with this, and it does give the product a much different character. Kind of lights up your palate a little bit. It's also just part of the DNA of the brand. I mean, it's ocean vodka. Shouldn't there be some of the ocean in the vodka, right? It's just one of those kind of genius things that the product was founded on.
That's really cool. I've never heard of, I mean, do you know of any other spirits that get used with anything like that? Or is this a common water source for the island and other industries? Or is this just kind of something that you guys have to do just for the vodka?
Well, it's a pretty good sized water source. It's not really for supplying water to the island. It's more for supplying water to other processes. It was originally put in, they were doing research on could they generate electricity from the cold to the warm part of the ocean, try to get that to flip, put a turbine in there and generate electricity. That was actually proven on a small scale, never really worked out to the large scale. But the pipeline that goes down is actually owned by the state of Hawaii, and there's a kind of an industrial park around that source. They're doing aquaculture. They're farming some really nice lobsters, shrimp. There are a couple of companies that are bottling the water directly for drinking, and then we take it out in much larger quantities for what we do.
And that's theoretically limitless, right? I mean, it's going to take a lot longer to deplete the ocean than it is going to take to deplete like even the Great Lakes where we get all of our water.
You hear about sea levels rising. We kind of joke we're helping with that a little bit.
All right, cool.
Every bottle counts.
Every bottle counts.
Yeah, do your part. Drink more of this vodka. What spirit do you guys suggest we try next year?
We're gonna roll into the Kula Rum.
All right.
That we're gonna do a Tangerine Dream. It's the clear organic, and we blend that with a vanilla simple syrup. At the farm, Bill actually has a nice vanilla grove where we grow our own organic vanilla on the farm. He does some process to it. It's a long process before the bean can be like usable.
It takes about a year.
So
we've gotten a couple questions on here, both Facebook and on Zoom. Is the Kula farm up country?
Yes.
Yeah, upcountry, Kula, Maui. Yes.
All right, and Mondo Kane's got another nerdy question involving fruit here. Have you considered local ingredients for the gin like lilikoi for a citrusy acidity in place of lime? Can't say I know what a lilikoi is.
Well,
Passion fruit.
Yeah,
Passion.
Yeah, it's a yellow passion fruit. We could add something like that, but the other thing about the botanicals that I really didn't touch on, probably should have, so I appreciate the question. All of those things, but juniper can be sourced on the island. They're all grown here. Ginger, lots of ginger in Hawaii, especially the Big Island. Kauai grows a lot of ginger. The lavender, there's a really large lavender farm straight up the hill from us. There's a lot of nice culinary lavender grown, and of course citrus. You can grow any citrus here.
Like year round.
Year round.
It's like the tree always has limes on it.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
So that kind of, for me, kind of tied it back to where we are and resources that we have here. Although, again, most of those botanicals are sourced from, people that are making those for processes like this.
Okay. All right, sorry, back to the rum.
Back to the rum. So I was just talking about the vanilla simple syrup that will be kind of put in. It's actually vanilla that's grown from the farm, and they create the syrup there. It's beautiful. We'll blend that with fresh tangerine juice, and then from there with a little splash of pineapple. Like you said, we gotta keep that pineapple going in Hawaii. Yep. So that's the drink. I'll make it over here on the side, or I guess I can make it for you now, just so that we can walk you through it. So this one is 1.5 ounces of Kula.
And then Tangerine Dream. Do you listen to krautrock in the background when you are drinking a Tangerine Dream?
So from there, we'll go into a half ounce of the vanilla simple syrup.
Wish you could smell this
And
vanilla
you
syrup.
can kind of, I'm not sure if you can see it in there. It actually has the black specks of the vanilla bean that's
Yeah.
in there.
Nice.
Yeah, nice little component there. And then we'll do 2 ounces of the tangerine juice.
If people come and visit, is there a tasting room where you guys serve these drinks?
Yeah, we've got a tasting that starts every hour on the hour. Starts up about 11 o'clock in the morning, goes till I think the last one is at 5. We do take reservations for those, but we get quite a bit of walk-on traffic also. So there's a little bit of a kind of a history tour of the company, why we do what we do, how we do it, and then they taste every spirit we make. So it's quite an experience for people.
We also have the cafe and the bar. So we do make all these drinks on property, and you can enjoy them on a big half-acre lawn out in front. We have Adirondack chairs, and you know we have people that we don't know if are going to leave at the end of the day. You know, they stay so long, but you know, for us, that's what it's really all about, is getting people to come to our home, be able to see what we are about, and hang out and enjoy. So Tangerine Dream, we just roll that into a Collins glass. I guess I could put it in there with all the stuff.
Hey, why not?
And we do with that similarly is you have a little pineapple leaf and a candied tangerine skin as the topper.
Are you going to share with Bill at all, or is he exclusively not tasting drinks with you?
Right.
Because he wanted to all be about him, he's awfully selfish. Okay, we got it.
Here's a question. When you get on the rum production on the side, so you have access. We have got a friend in New Orleans who owns a rum distillery and is pulling a whole bunch of cane out of Thibodeau, and he's doing everything just fresh run cane juice, where they're running like quickly because they can get it. It's an hour away, and they can get it. They can.
Oh, did we lose Brett?
Looks like we lost him.
It's a good thought.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not sure what the question was going to be. He's down the hall. He'll be back. You want to talk about the coconut rum while, oh wait, there he is.
There,
you
sorry,
froze.
no. So here's the question. No, so Ron, you obviously said you have a column still, no pot. Are you running any first press cane agricole style, or are you using all a mixture when you're making the rum, the base?
It's a mixture. It's all column still, and the column was designed for both neutral spirits for vodka and the rum. We have a little different take on this, you know, what the rum base should be. We call it a Pacific rum. It doesn't have any of the notes of the molasses and things like that. It's a lot more floral. I don't know if that's what you're sniffing now, but
Yeah,
a little bit of maybe a little bit of banana from the esters, some things like that. But it's all column run, 100%.
okay. And have you done any experimentation with just pure press cane?
Just doing a heavy agricole rum.
Yeah, exactly.
We actually, honestly, we do have a small pot still on site. Shay and I actually built a pot still in the early days of the distillery there. It looked a lot like a moonshine thing, but we have played a little bit with the agricole. It's just not a profile that we felt was appropriate for the line. It becomes difficult, especially when we get into more of the flavored products, you know, trying to make rums for Mai Tais, things like
Sure.
that.
Yeah, complete other end of the spectrum for sure.
Yeah.
Do you have any kicking around in your garage at least?
Actually, we do have some really good aged rum that we sell only on the farm. So you're gonna have to come see us to get it. It's
No
a product
kidding.
called Brum. Brum is a very high quality old rum, and it's coopered in Jack Daniel's barrels on the farm.
Well, we know this sales guy named Tim who happens to be there right now, I think. And I'm sure he's going to head back to Chicago at some point.
Tim wasn't here. He really wasn't here. We were just zoning him in on the
Oh,
can.
yeah.
Tim, you can carry 50 pounds in your bags, buddy. It would be good.
If he shows up with something like this, that's Brum. It's in a
Boy,
ceramic
you guys
bottle.
just don't do
Nice.
any bottle simply or in an understated way, do you?
Why would we? Why would we?
That's true. Hey, Dave Kender wants to know what part of the island the distillery's in. Can you give that to us one more time here?
It is in Kula. That's, the name of the brand here, our rum. Kula, Maui, Hawaii, which is, if you know, the Haleakala is the tall mountain. It's a 10,000-foot mountain. It's as you go up there, you got to go through Kula to get to to go see the sun.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's it's about the middle of the island.
All right. All right. So let's talk about what? Coconut rum next?
Yeah, talk them through the family.
The family?
The Kula family.
Okay. Next addition to Cooler Rum was a toasted coconut rum. Again, just a challenge from the team members here. When we started talking about brand extensions, this is the one that kind of won the consensus. Toasted coconut rum is it's a flavored rum. They're a mixture of coconut sources in it, and I'm actually using real burnt coconut sugar to give it the toast flavor, right? There's a little bit of coconut water concentrate in it, and then the other things that round it out. Run it at 70 proof because I want it to be very flavor forward. When you smell the product, you think it's going to be very sweet. It just isn't. It's just complex on the nose and on the palate.
That's what shocked me the first time I had it. I smelled it and, I was like, oh, it's just going to be some, sugar heavy, just fake tasting, like, so many coconut rums just smell and taste like sunscreen more than coconut. And that's what struck me most about this is it smelled like real coconut. And I was expecting a sweet rum and I tasted it and it was like dry and mixable, and I think it would probably make interesting cocktails because of that, where it doesn't just slap the other cocktail ingredients around with a bunch of sugar.
Right. I actually like to just substitute the toasted coconut rum in a traditional Mai Tai. Just make a Trader Joe's style Mai Tai. Take them out. Use toasted coconut. Float, of course, our dark rum on the top. It's awesome. I mean, it really just livens up any citrus cocktail like that. Also. Nice.
And so, just toasted coconut. I mean, it's if anybody hasn't tried it yet, and you generally like that kind of tropical character of rum, this is a rum drinker's rum, but also a rum novice's rum. It's approachable, it's clean, it's a nice rum.
Yeah.
What now? The dark, obviously, you're adding just caramel color to the dark, or is there flavoring added to that as well?
There's a little bit of flavoring added to that also, but the color comes some from an age component, but predominantly from caramel color.
Okay, but there is some aged rum in there.
Yeah, we're looking for the visual of the float on top of the Mai Tai. You do need to be able to see that when it's being served. So that's where we went with that product.
Cool.
But there's a good bit of aged product in that also.
All right, is there a signature Shay cocktail for these that we need to be aware of?
Oh, we call it the Kula Tai. It's our form of the Mai Tai. And as he was saying, we utilize all three. So we use the clear, the toasted coconut, and then we float the dark on top of it. It's out of this world. Again, we do serve it at the farm. So you said you were going to be out next week?
Next year. I wish.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
We're barely getting out of 50-degree weather here next week.
Isn't it snowing up there?
Exactly.
It's snowing in Ohio.
It snowed here on Monday, actually. So. Didn't stick.
Yeah, Monday, early yesterday too.
Yeah. All right, cool. Now, and really the only thing we haven't talked about much is the vodka, but I mean, the skeptic in me says vodka is vodka, and you're going to be hard pressed to convince me that it has any kind of redeeming character to it outside of the fact that it's like, you know, clean and flavorless. Do you want to defend your vodka?
Doesn't it speak for itself? I mean,
It does. It's got the mineral water in it. You mentioned the mineral water adds a little body to it or something, right?
Right. But you mentioned clean and no flavor. I couldn't agree less.
Yeah, I'm not knocking the vodka. It's a good clean vodka, and it's organic, and it's you know, again, we're helping with rising ocean levels every time we drink one. So
I'm not worried about Tim's job. You want to do some sales? But no,
Well, we've had a couple of great compliments though. We've had at least 4 or 5 just unsolicited comments that weren't really questions, that were just great thank yous for you guys for making the vodka. So obviously you're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing based on the feedback we're getting.
Yeah, and you know, a lot of that is where we make it. Of course, the raw material, sugarcane, is great for distilling, especially something that you want clean like this product. But also the way I distill, I can really leave a little of that sugarcane essence in there, if you will. When the product's running, it comes off the stills at about 193 proof, and almost smells like cinnamon to me. If I know I've got that kind of in the vapor that's coming off of the catch tank, then I know we're right. And what happens is that cinnamon kind of falls back as the product cools. I don't flash cool alcohol ever. I let it come back to ambient temperature on its own in small tanks.
wow.
And when it comes back, then it leaves behind just, if you've ever tasted sugarcane juice, you press it out of the cane and drink it. There's a little of that there. And then it's kind of got a signature sweet finish also. So
That's wild. So we're not going to see a big industrial heat exchanger in your distillery to cool spirits off with in any kind? They're just
it comes off the still at about 170 degrees, 160 to 170 degrees, depending on what's going on outside. Goes into a 350-gallon stainless steel tote, and that goes off into the warehouse, and it comes back to ambient. I really can't blend with the product for pretty close to 4 to 5 days.
yeah. I was going to say it probably takes a long time to cool off.
Quite a while. It takes quite a while, but it's kind of a mellowing thing that I find makes a difference in the product.
Well,
Pretty cool.
and it's an aging, and we talk about it a lot when we do really sort of nerdy discussions, especially about brown goods. But one of the things that we've talked about frequently, if anybody's listened to us, is that's almost like a subtractive aging process, right? That little bit of oxidation, because and it's good, and people don't understand that qualifies as aging too. You don't have to stick something in wood to get certain aging activity to occur, and subtractive aging can be just as important as aging to add something into it or add flavor.
Right. As alcohol is hot, it's very reactive, kind of unstable, and things happen to that as it stays hot also. So there's a time element that's pretty important to it.
Interesting.
yeah, and it kind of goes back to, remember a little earlier I was saying that I'm kind of picky, right? And it is. It's similarly, the whole project was kind of hinged on being able to create, a consumer brand from Hawaii that represented the place itself. Like when you visit, Hawaii is one of the, if not the top, destination in the US or in the world, or always is in the top. We're looking to have that be a component of anything we produce. Otherwise we go on and do something else, right? So when we got to the formula we were at, similar with Phi Organic Gin, it was like, okay, got it. There are a lot of really good spirits out there, and I've tested my fair share of them. And I said, okay, this puts us on a playing field where we can sit with the best in the world, and we can shine, not only from a provenance perspective of Hawaii, we have the bottle perspective, and then we have the innovation in ingredients, especially for the category, right? So when we started this 15 years ago, these components weren't there. We're not new. We've been around for a long time. Every year we get bigger and bigger and bigger, but we're still a small craft distiller that produces an exceptional product from innovative ingredients, right? And I describe it more as like a wine, a wine drinker's vodka. So if you drink it just neat, you'll notice it has a little bit more mouthfeel, texture on your tongue, that little bit of a sweetness at the front, and it's lacking the metallic mineral taste that comes with a lot of the other even really good vodkas out there. They have a little bit more of that metallic-y taste. Ours tends to have more of that sweet texture at the front, and couple that with the fresh juices like we're gonna do here next with Ocean. Those minerals that we leave in the water that go into the vodka actually accent those flavors, right? So it gives it a little bit more of a refreshing profile. So you take one of the leading brands and you do an Ocean and Cran and an X and Cran. It tastes like you got different cranberry in each, right? Because vodka's supposed to be neutral and tasteless. So your assumption is that the cranberry's different. But in reality, it's how Ocean and the ocean water plays with those flavor profiles. And we laugh. We go around the country and we're pretty well distributed, but sometimes they don't have Ocean. So we do have to drink other things, and we're always looking at each other like, oh, we did good. We did good. I'll take a beer next, But all joking aside, that really was that was the premise. If we can't play with the best in the world, then we should probably go play at something else, right? And with Bill Scott here, I'm fortunate enough to say that we're in the ballpark, and with you guys, again, we appreciate the fact that you guys think enough of us to put us on your shelf, and that to us is that's a huge win, and we appreciate all of that. It's huge, amazing. Thank you.
Oh, and people want it. Ultimately we don't decide. The customer decides.
Right,
So
our customers
got a
tell
lot
us
of
what
fans.
they want.
You get to lead them a little. So it's good, and everybody looks at you guys again as third-party endorsement. If it works for you guys, it should work for a lot of same like at our farm. They look at, they come through our tasting and they've had Ocean before, right? And then the tasting comes with all of our spirits, and they're like, well, I don't drink gin. I don't like gin. You go, well, you paid for it. Like, well, okay, I'll try it. And then sure enough, they're like, I like gin. But really, that's what we're looking at is having things be surprisingly better than maybe what you expected.
I mean, they really are, because I think a lot of times, especially when somebody tries a spirit or a beer at a vacation destination, I can't tell you how many times we get asked for, some beer that somebody had on a beach in the Dominican Republic or somewhere in the Caribbean. And they're always like, oh, I had this beer when I was on vacation. It was the best beer I ever had in my life. And I'm always just like, buddy, you were like 12 beers deep on a beach. Like, of course that was the best beer you've had in your life. And those beers are terrible. And, and a skeptic would say the same thing about, oh yeah, I tried this amazing rum in Hawaii. It's like, well, you're in Hawaii and totally loaded on Mai Tais. But these spirits stand up for they pass that test where when you have them in Minnesota or Illinois, they still taste just as good. And I think that's like, to me, kind of the ultimate compliment to that kind of destination mindset alcohol brand,
Yeah, we call that a tourist brand, where it's sold on the fact that, like you said, you're in Hawaii and it says Hawaii on it, and you get it. That's why ours is called Ocean. We do have elements, and when we first launched it, I was critiqued very hardly on why it doesn't say it's Hawaiian, or why didn't you name it Hawaiian or Aloha Vodka? And I'm like, I said, I really wanted it to be able to stand. You drink it because it's good. The fact that it's from Hawaii probably just gives you better memories of, good times and those sort of things. And that really is the difference between, our company is the only company that is a born and raised local business, right? So there are other distilleries out here, but in the context of like, who's making this? That's what this is. And what we've done with it is we're now, the top 5 selling vodka in the States. We're fast growing. We're in the top 2 of craft distilling, companies and spirits. And those are things that are all hinged on that primary factor, is that, yes, we got a beautiful bottle. Yes, we're from a beautiful place. But at the end of the day, when you drink it, you like it. Right. That's where the money's at. That's where you get the loyalty. That's where your family gets bigger and bigger. And like I said, you guys being on board and giving that opportunity for people to get it in your area is huge. Huge.
Well, it's good. Again, people want it, and it's good vodka. Mondo Kane suggests that you do a study on the minerals in the ocean water to see if you can confirm that they mitigate hangovers, and then market as an electrolyte enhanced vodka.
I've had many studies.
We'll start working on that as soon as the call starts. Oh,
Many studies, 12 ounces at a time.
He also suggests you name more of your drinks after German ambient music songs, like Tangerine Dream.
All right, we got a live one.
Well, Tangerine Dream. Now, there's besides Tangerine Dream being a very famous krautrock band, Tangerine Dream's also a reference to something else. So, where did yours come from, or just the use of tangerine?
I am lost here now.
Yeah, a little more hands-on farmy style. Yeah.
There you go. That's
so the cocktail. Yeah. Speaking of farmy stuff, the cocktail we're making with Ocean is, we call it the Green Harvest. And little story on Green Harvest is that's what they called the, marijuana, Maui Wowie. It's changed over the years, but the eradication of it was always called Green Harvest, where they would fly the helicopters and they would go and try to find people growing it out in the bushes. So our Green Harvest does not have any of that particular stuff in it. It's
missed opportunity.
I think there's a lot of people got that covered. For us, we actually took, fresh jalapenos and cilantro, and we make a syrup with that. And then we blend that with some fresh lime juice and a little bit of pineapple juice. Back to the pineapple.
Got it.
It creates a beautiful, little bit of spicy, nice, refreshing kind of green cocktail. So we'll start that out with 1.5 ounces of Ocean organic vodka. From there, we do 1/2 ounce of the jalapeno syrup.
This sounds excellent. I'm a sucker for spicy drinks.
And then we actually will do about 3/4 of fresh lime. So we'll just squeeze that in there. Put 2 of those in there. Nice. Professional. And then from there, we do 1.5 ounces of pineapple juice. Add our ice. Give it a nice little shake. That will go into one of our signature glassware. It's shaped similar to the bottle.
Look at that. There you go.
with
The obligatory.
a little cilantro and pineapple with a little pineapple leaf. Maui Ocean Green Harvest. Okay, Bill.
All right,
Ah!
all right.
Man.
All right, Bill's just been waiting for the Tangerine Dream and the Green Harvest.
Yeah, and a little background on the ocean bottle. You got that it's the DNA, it's ocean water in there. And in crafting the bottle itself, we looked at going, okay, how can we grab other things from the ocean to actually turn that package into a more meaningful vessel? And in doing that, growing up here, my dad was a commercial fisherman, so we were always out on the water and getting sunburned. And one of the things we would find, early on, you don't really find them much anymore, were these glass fishing floats.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the olden days, it was Norwegian, and then the Japanese really took it up to where they would hand blow glass balls on the boat to attach to their nets, and that's what they used as their floats for their nets. And as with things that you put in the ocean, sometimes you don't get them back. These were things that would be come off of the nets and be floating around, and it's like an ocean artifact. Really, it was just glorified ocean garbage. But it was something that has been collected over time, and for us, we saw it as a nice combination of history and being captivating all in the same in the same breath, right? And then we took that a little bit farther with saying there really is only one ocean on this planet. There's a lot of name them a lot of things, but they are just one. They're all connected. And so we took the fishing float and the actual Earth, the globe, and angled the neck at the Earth's axis. And so you've got a couple things playing with it that give it that very iconic, eye-catching kind of feel. And those are a little bit of the components that got us there. And even with all of our stuff, we pride ourselves on being a prestigious organic spirits producer. And in that, we talked about quality, but you guys kind of hit on it with regards to packaging. And we want everything to represent something other than just it's something to take the spirit to your house so you can drink it, right? So ocean represents the ocean, more of an artifact. Kula represents more of the land, so it's positioned more as like a mountain, right? So it gives that an island coming up out of the ocean kind of a feel. And then all the way to Phi, we linked it back with 5 sides. So it's an odd kind of a shape. So it's got 5 sides. It has 5 little dips all the way around, matching the points that make it easier to pour. And then with that, along with a lot of our stuff, is the repurpose reuse, right? Obviously there's recycle, but the repurpose reuse, and with Phi Organic Gin, the labels all come off. And we actually did it with a mouth opening that is much larger than your typical spirits, which we were kind of pushing people to reuse it as, say, a vase, a flower vase. Just, and that really has kind of played well with regards to our whole portfolio. And then just because we're talking about bottle shapes, you can see that this bottle has a hole, through the middle of it from it's $150 aged rum that we sell on the farm. The bottle is crafted after it's an ancient tool, Hawaiian tool. They used it was a stone tool, and they used it to actually make poi, which is it's a root, like a potato kind of a thing, where they'll mash it up into like a mashed potato. And that was the tool they used. And for us, we took that as kind of an inspiration, and then crafted that in ceramic. So this is a ceramic bottle that has obviously some applications that were put on it after, and it was made in Germany, actually. This one is by far one of our favorites to sip on, but that's kind of the the breakdown of how we looked at building that whole back end of our packaging portfolio.
It's cool. What's next for you guys? Are you guys looking at developing, expanding into other spirit segments, or is it going to be the kind of 3 core products and go from there?
But at this point, Tim's got his hands full. Bill's got his hands full, but we will play around with stuff more so just on farm, right?
Mhm.
So having that ability to have people come visit your home allows you to, see how people are responding to different things that you're looking at, that doing, Bill's background and his expertise in creating flavor profiles that are just out of this world is awesome, but it's also got to be taken to the consumer where we can see, okay, well, we all thought it was awesome and nobody liked it, right? So have that component there at the farm, and we will, through the course of the next years, have things that just roll out on farm. And then from there, the highly successful ones that we see have a life outside of it, we'll chase it.
Pineapple rum, just a wild, random idea off the top of my head. I mean, I'm not sure how I made the association there, but it seems like there could be something there.
See why you're in that position.
My royalty is only 2 cents per bottle sold, so it's quite reasonable.
Right.
Well, guys, thanks a lot. This was eye-opening, cool. These spirits are great. Obviously they have fun drinks with associations to bands that I've never heard of or something, but I'll let Brett deal with that later. Bill, sorry to ask you questions about fermenting potatoes as well as sugarcane, but it's fascinating stuff though. This was great. And everybody, all these are available except for the aged rum. All these are available at your local Binny's at very reasonable prices considering they had to cross an ocean to get here. So guys, really appreciate it. Thanks again. Always fun to talk about organic spirits, especially the day before Earth Day. We should mention that at some point here. So do your part to help ocean sea level rising and drink some vodka.
Awesome. Aloha, guys.
All right, aloha.
Appreciate it.
Aloha, man.
Aloha,
Cheers.
thanks.
See you everybody later. Brett and I will be back on Friday with Sagamore Spirit Rye doing some single barrel rye stuff. So anybody else who tunes in, we'll be back at 5 o'clock on Friday. Guys, cheers again. Thank you everybody for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Cheers.